Welcome back, everyone. Othaya here with,
Oona.
and we are reacting today on Moans and Bones with something new that hasn't been on the channel yet, which I did mention we would be doing at some point. It is SCP related.
Oh, okay.
We're gonna be watching. Yeah, she didn't know. We're gonna be watching a channel. His channel name is TheVolgun, I believe, and he makes really good SCP like lore videos where he's condensed lore or has gone over what the wiki says about certain ones and condenses it down. And since Oona here is not that familiar with SCPs, this is like an introductory video that kind of explains what is SCP, what are all these terms, what do they mean, and then we'll get into some like actual SCPs as we move along. But yeah, so Oona, what do you know about SCPs?
Yeah, I was gonna say, hey, I know some about SCP.
Oh yeah, like Siren Head's an SCP?
Maybe.
Nah, he's
I
not.
don't know. I don't know how you get to be an official SCP. Do you have to be like approved? Or
Well,
something?
the Siren Head is a specific joke because Internet Historian mixed it up, but it's like it's an owned property. But you have to make a story and have it published on the wiki, which is like a collective writing.
Okay.
So once it's up there, I guess you could consider yourself a true SCP.
I know they're creatures, monsters, or like weird entities. I don't know. Could be
anything actually. It could be like a pin. I mean, like
that's what I'm trying to say. Like dimensional. I don't know. What I'm trying to think of the right.
I call them abnormalities.
Yeah, that works. They're just really strange, and some of them hard to contain. I know some of them are malicious. And
well, what does SCP stand for? Can you remember?
Oh gosh, I might be forgetting.
Don't worry, it'll be drilled in your head as we go through these eventually.
But I know for like the worst ones, the company has like a weird secret containment base. I've seen stuff on a few of the really weird.
SCP is the company itself. Well, it's called the Foundation.
Okay.
But it stands for Secure, Contain, and Protect. And protect actually goes both ways. Like it's protecting us, but it's also protecting these anomalies in a sense. I would say sometimes that's not really as true as they claim it would be.
I'm like, I've watched SCP ASMR and I've been poked.
You're lucky that's all that's happened. But yeah, let's get into this like little training video.
I was just gonna say, yeah. I was gonna say, I know like the happiness one, the happiness jello one,
vaguely apparently.
When you have to keep looking at it as it breaks your neck.
SCP-173.
The weird unkillable monster. Peanut. I know a few. I did look into some of them.
Well, it's hard not to.
A while back now.
SCP kind of blew up, so like it's hard to not have seen something. But that's why we're gonna deep dive, because I think you will really like the lore, because you are a lore buff when you get into something. So I think you'll really like how, like, not all the SCP stories necessarily tie together, but it's just having such a nice collection of just creepy stories is really cool. I really love the concept of SCP a lot. I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
So let's get into it. Let's see how let's see what we could learn here. So this is going to be a general overview of what everything is.
So, you stumbled upon or heard about a thing called SCP, and you're wondering what it's all about. This guide has all the information you need to know about what the SCP Foundation is and what it has to offer you. Think of it as the ultimate primer to the universe, and the wiki as it is and should be seen today. This guide is split up into 3 sections, and they are as follows. Number 1, the basics. An introduction to the SCP Foundation and wiki, covering the SCP format, object classes, in-universe lore about the Foundation, and important vocabulary, and why it all matters. Number 2, in-universe elements. This covers some background information and a lot of commonly used terms that might leave a new reader lost or confused. Number 3. Things to read and do. A tour of the entire SCP universe, covering all modes of writing and different kinds of pieces that you can read. From -Js to EXs, 001 proposals to groups of interest, tales, and canons. There's a lot more than just the SCP series. Okay, let's get started. The basics.
Man, this is just class.
Yeah, is it class? I really like his voice. I think it's really good. I think he explains things really well too and concisely. It's gonna be complicated though, as you can tell already. 001 proposals. What do you think that is? I'll let him go into it more.
Clandestine and worldwide, the Foundation operates beyond jurisdiction, empowered and entrusted by every major national government with the task of containing anomalous objects, entities, and phenomena. These anomalies pose a significant threat to global security by threatening either physical or psychological harm. Introduction. The SCP Foundation is a collaborative writing platform centering around a fictional foundation, a scientific and military organization that seeks to protect humanity and the status quo by locating and containing anomalies, objects, life forms, events, locations, concepts, creations, and phenomena that, in one way or another, violate natural law.
One could say we are both SCPs. Not that I'm letting the Foundation get their hands on me. No sirree.
I was gonna say earlier how Oona is not an SCP.
Oh, the fact you're a ghost and the fact that I'm like a skeleton lich, they would immediately try to contain us. But not on my watch.
Special gelatinous wisp.
Not me and my teleporting parlor. They'll never catch me.
On the SCP Wiki, authors tell stories and explore ideas within this urban fantasy science fiction universe, creating rich pieces of writing that take place in a world where the anomalous exists and how people and organizations interact with them. These articles may showcase the different types of phenomena that might exist in this universe, the SCPs themselves, or tell compelling narratives about life and interactions within the SCP world, tales, canons, and groups of interest formats. The central focus of the SCP Wiki is the SCP file, commonly referred to as just an SCP. It is a set of in-universe technical documentation supposedly compiled by the Foundation in an effort to understand, analyze, experiment with, and most importantly, contain the anomaly. The SCP file is, in effect, a form of constrained writing, an immersive way to tell a story about the nature and history of an anomalous object or entity, whether directly or by hinting at some greater idea. Each SCP is given a unique serial number or designation, and on the Wiki, you can browse SCPs with designations ranging from 1 to 3,999. They are organized into 4 numerical series. Series 1.
This video is older too, I should preface, so there's even more than that now.
Okay.
So there's even more.
SCP-1 through to 999. Series 1 was written from 2007 to 2011. Series 2. SCP-1000 through to SCP-1999. Series 2 was written from 2011 to 2013. Series 3. SCP-2000 through to SCP-2999. Series 3 was written from 2013 to 2017. And Series 4, SCP-3000 through to SCP-3999. This series is still being written, but it started in 2017. The SCP format. An SCP file has a very specific format that, in general, must be strictly adhered to. SCPs are the backbone of the entire franchise. These documents are the set pieces of the universe, showcasing its tone, stories, and possibilities. The basic format of an SCP is as follows. Item number, SCP hyphen, then the number. Object class, then a category name. Special containment procedures, then a detailed summary of all specific means needed to make sure the anomaly is safely contained. Description, then a technically written documentation of all things that the anomaly is, does, and can do. And finally, supplements, optional additional files added onto the base document. Each SCP is given an object class based on the degree of containment difficulty. Here are the primary object classes. Safe. The anomaly can be contained by simply leaving it alone. No special procedures, methods, or events are necessary to keep it from damaging the world. This does not necessarily mean it's not dangerous. A safe class object can be world-threatening if not contained, but it's just really easy to contain them. Some notable examples of safe class SCPs are SCP-1981, SCP-2579, SCP-993, SCP-1425, and SCP-3039.
You're laughing at the bear, aren't you? It's the bear.
The bear is amazing.
Yeah, you have no context here. But what do you think of the Reagan one? Yeah. That one is interesting. Interesting. And weird. Weird. The only thing it's a threat to is Reagan himself, it would seem.
Who's dead? So...
Yeah, but it's archived in the SCP vaults. They have what happens,
Yeah.
But it is an interesting one. We'll definitely go over that one. We'll probably eventually go over all 5 of these that he's listing here because they're more popular. But yeah,
Okay.
I knew you're laughing at the bear. He's just chilling, all right.
He just looks like he's chilling, like.
He's like, I'm just hanging out with my other SCP buddies. Like the clown.
I know.
All examples will be in the video description. Next, Euclid. The anomaly is inherently unpredictable or requires some amount of special effort to be contained. You're not quite sure what will happen if you leave it alone, and it might be a little bit more complex than a safe class entity, object, or phenomenon. Some notable examples of Euclid class SCPs are SCP-3008, SCP-426, SCP-1171, SCP-3001, and SCP-1609.
Poster.
I'm not sure actually about this house one right here. But
Okay.
I know these 3 pretty well, and this one I'm not sure of either. But I know these 3. Very, very interesting SCPs as well. These 2, horrifying. This one
IKEA and toaster.
became horrifying, but I don't blame it.
Okay.
And finally, Keter. These
Ugh,
SCPs are
Ketters.
really difficult to contain, requiring a huge expenditure of resources or extensively complex containment procedures. The most dangerous of phenomena are classed as Keter, often, but not always, posing an existential threat to humanity, the world, or universal structure itself. Some notable examples of Keter-class SCPs are SCP-1739, SCP-231, SCP-2935, SCP-2293, and SCP-3200.
3200 sucks.
In addition, there are a number of esoteric and secondary classes that are used much.
I was gonna say, am I Keter or safe?
Well, how easy are you to contain?
I was gonna say I'm Keter, but as long as everyone's chilling, feeding me boba.
Well, and things can be upgraded, so they might
maybe I'm
classify
safe.
something as safe at first, but then they realize it can do things that make it like Euclid or Keter. And I would also argue Euclid is used a lot when, like, Keter is a designation that something receives at a certain point of understanding too sometimes, where I would say Euclid is also
Okay.
used when something is like not well understood still, and could even be Keter. They just don't understand it well enough yet. So you could be amenable, depending on how much trouble you give them. I'm probably Euclid, because they won't know. They don't know enough.
Much less than
Depends what the boba supply and blanket
the boba supply. Yeah, if they had like endless boba, you'd be easy to contain. You would be safe. You'd just be chilling. Fucking, I require my daily boba, please. Promise not to take your soul.
the big three that I just mentioned, but still serve important purposes.
Those are the big three. There are
Thaumiel.
others. Like
This is a very rare object class only known to the highest levels of the Foundation. In essence, Thaumiel class objects are anti-Keter. They are used in the containment or counteracting of other SCPs. They act as powerful tools to be used by the Foundation, which normally rarely uses anomalies. Some notable examples of Thaumiel class SCPs are SCP-2000, SCP-2003, SCP-3000, SCP-179, and SCP-3031. And finally, neutralized. It used to be anomalous, now it's not. Maybe it just stopped working on its own. Maybe someone accidentally or purposefully destroyed it. Either way, it no longer has functional anomalous properties. Some notable examples of neutralized class SCPs are SCP-1470, SCP-2682, SCP-3519, SCP-1762, and SCP-2420. If you want to stop watching this guide now and start diving into the wiki, this is a good time to do so.
Yeah.
But be sure to finish this guide if you're unsure of anything. Maybe you can pick one from the links from the description and then follow the cross-links and navigation in the article. Maybe you can go to a series page. I highly recommend series 2 and 3, and just click on one with an intriguing title. Or you could roll the dice and press random SCP. One of the best ways to learn about the Foundation is to discover for yourself all the genres, emotions, and ideas it can evoke, to keep that sense of mystery and gritty realism. There's still a lot to learn about the culture and vocabulary and universe of the site. You can find out and learn by yourself just by reading as much as you can. Playing it by ear, it's pretty fun that way. Or if you'd like to get a better handle on everything that's going on and a few more ways to drop you into the community, stay tuned. I still have a lot to show you.
So I'm going to leave that decision up to you. Would you want to dive into maybe some of his videos talking about specific SCPs from this point forward? Or do you want to hear more about how he explains certain terminology and concepts?
I kind of want to look at some of them, but how much longer is it? I feel like we can just
This is a long video.
Get it out of the way.
This is we're at 9 minutes and 30 seconds, and it's 35 minutes in total.
I feel like I'll just learn. That way we just get it over with.
Oh, okay. So you want to continue then? Okay, perfect.
Yeah. I did want to look up doggo and
Next
bear.
up, in-universe
Shits.
elements.
In good time.
Foundation
in good
structure
time.
and protocol.
Yeah.
Security clearance represents how much information
yes.
about an object you're allowed to know. If you've read through an SCP or
They're
two,
redacted.
you're bound to have seen these. Data expunged, redacted, or the text completely blacked out. These keywords are common hallmarks and tools of narrative of the SCP Wiki, signifying that the information has been classified to a higher clearance or has been cleansed completely. It adds an element of horror through absence that is classic to the SCP fandom. For a great example of how security clearance levels can be used, read SCP-2317. There are also many types of workers in the Foundation. Among them, we have containment specialists, researchers, and security tactical response officers. There are field agents who are out in the world undercover, looking for signs of anomalous activity, and mobile task forces, special units that are assigned to carry out certain dangerous jobs. The task forces document contains a list of mobile task forces along with their associated SCPs. The Foundation is
Yeah, you
usually
want the
thought of
dangerous
as a
jobs.
far-reaching organization, and so
I
their
don't know.
bases are found across.
I don't know. I working for the Foundation actually does sound appealing and to a part of me in terms of research. and like investigation.
Yeah.
But working for the Foundation sucks. although your family, even if you should die, is probably taken care of forever. So there is that.
Depends on what part of the chain you are, I suppose, and how lucky. Because I don't know if I'd want to be one of the first.
I don't know. It's kind of a mixed bag because even if you're a higher up, that means you're privy to some really dark and dangerous information.
True.
And you have a clearer picture of
True.
what you're fighting against as the Foundation, which is also terrifying in a different way. Yeah, I don't think you win no matter where you're at in this fucking organization, really. I feel like guards get it the worst, though. Like the ones that are like protecting these like lockup facilities. Oh God, no. Them and the researchers conducting like the tests and stuff, it goes south really fast.
The globe, and sometimes outside of it. These bases can be sites or areas. For more information, read Secure Facilities Locations. The leaders of individual areas or sites are high-ranking Level 4 researchers known as Site Directors. There are few in the Foundation that rank higher than Site Director, and they are the O5 Council, the ultimate leaders of the entire Foundation. The Overseer Council, abbreviated to O5, is a group of 13 people who manage all Foundation operations worldwide and have complete access to all information, redacted or not. Their identities are classified for safety, and they are only referred to by their ID, 051 through 13. In addition, some versions of canon also include the existence of an administrator, the creator of the Foundation. Finally, one of the most interesting parts of the Foundation are D-Class personnel, or
the best job. You'll see.
Class Ds. The canon around D-Class personnel helps showcase the colder and more morally gray side of the Foundation. In order to experiment with and contain SCPs, the Foundation needs lab rats to test things with. The D-Class. Oftentimes, they are recruited from death row or the prison population, serving as expendable personnel that are used to handle hazardous anomalies. In the early days of the site,
get fucked. Basically, if you're D-Class, get fucked. Like, you're screwed. You're so screwed as D-Class. Oh my God. It's a bad way to go. Put it that way.
Yeah.
Oh man, they're often told, like, the prisoners and stuff are like, oh, this will commute your sentence if you can like serve in these experiments long enough or whatever. And I'm sure that really actually I don't know if it's a lie per se, it's just unlikely for them to make it out of it alive.
A common headcanon was that all D-Class were executed at the end of the month. However, this idea has gone out of fashion as the site has evolved. For more interesting stories about Class D personnel, try reading entries from the D-Class contest. Terms to know. The SCP Wiki has created a wide set of terminology and new innovations, inventing concepts that are unique to the premise of the site and found nearly nowhere else in literature. You may want to know these terms before you dive in. Anomalous classifications. Memetic, or meme. A meme is any unit of information that can spread and transfer itself throughout society. Memetic effects deal with how the brain understands and reacts to media. It is a piece of data in the subject's mind that has an anomalous effect on that subject's physical or mental state that is spread when someone else becomes aware of the same information. In particular, anomalous memetic agents are bits of hazardous information that are like a mental virus, triggering anomalous reactions in people who are exposed to them.
I love this concept. But I love that too. Like it actually makes sense in that way as well. But like think of it more grave. Like you could read a piece of paper, and that information on that piece of paper has now affected you in a way that is irreparable. Like you could become zombie-like, or or just so many things could happen. It could erase part of your life. You could have no memory left. You could not realize you're doing something, or it could do numerous other things to you. Like it's kind of crazy to have information be a virus in that way. And it doesn't have to be words. It could be a picture. It could be a lot of things. It's kind of wild.
I think DVDs The Unknown is kind of like this.
All I know is I actually think I fear memetic anomalous ones more than a lot of the like just monster ones. Because like again, you could just glance at something and just be fucked. However, he might go over this, but I'll just mention it here as well if he does or doesn't. One way to combat this is to have memory altering drugs to like erase your memory of something, etc., to protect you from this or inoculate you in a sense.
Yeah, I can see that working depending on what it is.
Yeah, it's not a foolproof thing, but
anti-memetic or anti-meme. An anti-meme is the opposite of a meme. It has self-censoring properties. Anomalous anti-memes are perfectly mentally camouflaged,
Digital brain
whether by
breach.
making you unable to hold your perception of one in your short-term.
Like, think of it like this: you look at something, and then you look like you even talk to it. You have a full conversation. You turn away, and all of it's gone. No memory of it at all. You don't even know it exists. So it like censors itself from your own brain's information like pool. Really weird concept, but interesting in many ways. God, I love SCP stuff. There's actually something like this. I don't think you quite got there yet, but there's something like this in Doctor Who.
Oh.
Memory, or making you unable to comprehend the concept of its existence. Cognitohazard. A cognitohazard is something that is dangerous when we perceive it with one of the 5 senses. For example, a sound that causes you to bleed from every pore, or a smell that causes you to go insane. All memetic effects are a subset of cognitohazards, as in order to process the information, you have to sense it. Infohazard. Infohazards are anomalous effects that...
I was thinking, with a taste, you taste my boba and you get addicted.
Oh my god. I'm addicted to boba.
I was also thinking some of the Uzumaki and Ito stuff I watched in general. I don't think you've seen it all yet. I think he has a few cognitohazards.
Yeah, she's referring to Uzumaki, the like horror manga / now anime on what was it, HBO?
Yeah.
That they've been putting out this last month. If you guys haven't seen it, it's pretty wacky. I definitely would recommend it actually if you're into wacky, creepy horror, kind of like SCP. Although if you don't like that, I'm surprised you even clicked on this video. But
they have some on Crunchyroll and Netflix too. They have more other. Yeah,
who's the author again? Do you know his name?
It is very SCP. I want to say is
Ito or
it definitely is Ito in the end. I don't know why I want to mix up his name and somebody else's name, so I'm like worried about getting it wrong. Is it Shinji Ito?
I just wanted to clarify so people knew you weren't talking about Naruto Uzumaki.
No.
They'd be like, what, Naruto's an SCP?
But I feel like so much of that stuff is very SCP.
Oh yeah, I would agree. I would definitely, like, having watched some of the Uzumaki, the new episode I think is this week. I think last one, right?
Yeah,
it definitely has vibes of SCP nonsense going on. And like, because SCPs can be a large scale thing. It doesn't have to be like an object or a monster. It could be a place, like a location. I feel like that really fits what Uzumaki is going for. It's like a town where this shit is just going bonkers.
Yeah.
A trigger when the SCP is described, referred to, or acknowledged.
Oh yeah, so if you describe it, info hazard, if you describe it, acknowledge it, or understand it in any way, boom, I'm triggered. Oh no.
You don't even have to sense the thing to be affected by an info hazard. You just have to know that it exists.
Yeah, so like if you know it exists, it's too late for you in certain cases.
Oh no.
Just the knowledge of it existing is a effect of it. I mean, it's crazy. There's one I'm thinking of with that. For all of you SCP buffs, I'm thinking Waldo. That won't make any sense to Oona, but it will soon.
It affects data written about the anomaly and people that are made aware of the existence of the effect. Ontokinetic or reality bender. An ontokinetic being can manipulate the laws of reality, magic, through anomalous means. Groups of interest contain and study reality benders, often in unethical ways, creating some moral crises for the Foundation. Anart, or an artist. Anart is short for anomalous art. Many people and groups aware of the existence of reality-breaking phenomena choose to explore it by creating often surrealist art with extra-normal properties, these people being called anartists. Narrativic or pataphysical. A narrativic anomaly manifests itself within works of fiction, often affecting the content of the work involved by creating characters, changing the setting, or blurring the line between fiction and the reality. The pataphorical or pataphysical SCP explores narrativic anomalies using the wiki itself as the narrative. It explores the idea of characters we write on the website attempting to communicate and manipulate us, and being aware of things on the website like author pages, deletions, and discussion forums. Technology and engineering. Scranton Reality Anchor. Scranton Reality Anchors are technological devices used by the Foundation to essentially regulate consensus reality. They cancel out or prevent the effects of reality-bending entities and anchor down areas.
I think you just thought of the town Scranton from The Office, didn't you? No, it's based off the name of the scientist who like made it up. But no Michael Scott coming up with a reality anchor, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think it's The Office and I think something else too that referenced Scranton. So I'm like, Scranton. I'm like, oh
yeah,
no.
Scranton. Oh no, yeah, you should say oh no in this case. Actually, you'll find out.
Is where the level of unreality is higher or lower than normal, counterbending it so that it matches the reality that we know and inhabit. Many contemporary authors have criticized the widespread use of SRAs as a catch-all for containing any type of structural or ontokinetic effect. Telekill. The SRA back in the old days, except the problem was worse. In its original form, it was a metal that blocked all mind-affecting or compulsive effects. People went crazy over it and started using it in all their containment procedures, and mistakenly thought it also blocked mimetic effects. Scranton's rewrite of the article added some nuances and drawbacks to it, and its usage had fallen by the wayside anyway, as people have become more innovative with writing. Humes. A unit of measurement that measures the intensity of reality present in an area, crucial to understanding how SRAs and other technologies work. They are useful in quantifying how powerful reality-bending effects are relative to each other.
I think a good example of this is actually kind of Silent Hill. Like when you're in the normal like fog world, it would probably be like, you know, a few Humes, you know, higher than normal, like normal reality, like baseline is like say 0, where it's just normal universe. But
okay.
But like the fog world would be a little higher, but then when we go to the other world, it's going to be like, whoa, this is a lot of Humes. Like this is what the fuck. So that's a good example, I think, of it. Outside of an SCP, it's something you can actually compare.
Okay.
K-class scenario, a term used to classify possible apocalypse scenarios, which the Foundation deals with on a daily basis when discussing the possible outcomes of dangerous effects or entities. The most common type is XK class, which describes a conventional destruction of the planet scenario. There are multiple minor ones whose exact definitions in canon are being argued over. including CK class, the restructuring of a reality, AK class, humanity goes crazy, SK class, the dominant species on Earth is no longer humans, and ZK class, reality universal failure. Amnestic, mind wipe drugs, a narrative tool used by authors to explain A, how the Foundation is able to keep the masquerade of secrecy, and B, to create stories dealing with memory and knowledge. In universe, these are simply chemicals that erase a normal human's memory of some amount of time. When the Foundation has to recover an anomaly in the real world, or seriously messes up, these are used. Things to read and do. There's more to the wiki than the SCP series. In this section, I open the door to the other areas of the site that are part of the Foundation universe, as well as answer some common questions about key but confusing parts of the site. What is SCP-1? In the early days of the site, when the wiki was just getting started, there was some debate over what should be this sacred number. 1. Everyone agreed that it had to be incredibly rare.
Goofy.
Everyone agreed
Goofy. You just make it a goofy. Oh my god.
Like, it has to be incredibly written. It has to be our immaculate magnum opus. And like, make it the goofy one.
Well, what would make it the goofy one? Yeah, the first one we found was just
Break the ice.
What's the name of the ghost from Ghostbusters? The first one, just like the green blob.
Slime.
Yeah, Slimer. It's just Slimer.
Yeah.
That's number 1. Oh no! God damn it! No. Ones are. I like how they ended up doing one in the end though. Like we'll see. He'll probably say
that it had to be big, something deserving of the very first spot. But nobody could agree who should do the honor of writing it. The answer? Everyone can write their own vision of SCP-1. Thus, the system of proposals, an author's individual idea of number 1. They vary wildly and contradict each other. On the number 1 hub page, it says that the quote real number 1 is so secret that a number of false ones have been created. This explanation.
See, but I like that idea because you never know which one you're reading is the real 001. A bunch of false ones have been made as well as the original. So I like it. I like that idea. It allows a lot of people to come up with a lot of different interpretations.
I think it'd be fun.
You could have your goofy one.
Yeah.
Allows there to be multiple self-contradictory number 1s. One of them could be the true one to you. Or maybe you want a couple to be canonical at the same time. Maybe all of them are fake. Maybe all of them are true. It all depends on your canon and how much you like a given proposal. In effect, SCP-1 proposals are canon builders. Each one sets the tone for a particular author's vision of the Foundation itself. Creating an SCP-1 proposal is as easy as writing it and then submitting it just like any other SCP. Although, unless you're incredibly experienced, it will most likely get rejected by the community and deleted. As of November 2017, 19 SCP-1 proposals have been successfully posted. Each one is the product of a lot of work and a high concept. Here are 6 of the 19. Number 1. Dr. Clef's proposal. The Foundation was established to prepare humanity for the rapture or apocalypse. SCP-1 is the angel guarding Eden. Number 2. Dr. Mann's proposal. The first and only natural anomaly was a spiral path in New York. A group of ambitious scientists experimented with reality using this as the thread and created every single other anomaly in the database.
Exactly.
Number 3. S. Andrew Swan's proposal. The SCP Foundation is aware of its fictionality. They are currently discussing ways to kill their authors. Number 4. Rojit's proposal. Keter-class anomalies are an inherent part of the universe and can be contained using each other. By releasing all Keter-class anomalies, the universe can be manually restructured. Number 5. Twisted Gear's Cactus proposal. SCP-1 is one manifestation of the mechanical god worshipped by a clockwork cult, which wreaked havoc on the world before the military destroyed it. And finally, number 6, Kaladin's proposal. Humanity was originally a slave race whose suffering was harvested to create utopia on another planet. We escaped and then tried to cloak ourselves. The cloak failed, and our masters are trying to bring us home. It's my personal suggestion that you don't start with SCP-1.
Yeah, I agree. We're not going to look at ones for a bit because they are quite complex and often tie in many other SCPs into their stories as well. So they'll reference other SCPs. Yeah, they are. They are. I like each one of them in their own way, actually. It's way more interesting to have like these differences. I especially like the one where the Foundation is aware of its own fictionality. Like it's like the ultimate fourth wall break because they want to escape our control, basically, because they know they're underneath our control, and they blame us for all the suffering they go through.
Oh no.
Well, because I mean, wouldn't you like if you knew that you're being written on a page and your authors are creating all of these creatures and anomalous events that are killing tons of your people, you would probably be a little upset.
There want to be like an isekai anime where they like send their hero out here to destroy this.
Yeah, yes, exactly. That is what they are trying to figure out how to do.
The proposals are usually quite complex and require some knowledge of Foundation lore, which is either played with, expanded on, or subverted. Read conventional SCPs before you take the number 1 deep dive.
Yeah, agreed.
Special classifications -EX, -J, and -ARC. There are other types of documents that use the basic SCP format and style, but utilized in a different way. This allows different stories with more diverse tones and themes to be told. The SCP-EX classification designates an SCP that is no longer considered anomalous. It is explained. The object or phenomenon in question still exists, but the Foundation has deemed it to be an acceptable part of consensus reality. Or it was a giant fake-out, or it turned out to be just a new scientific discovery. An SCP-J is a joke SCP, a parody SCP, in a sense. Joke SCPs are explicitly non-canon, using the SCP format to joke around or make fun of something for the benefit of the reader.
I could be an SCP-J. Come on. I feel like that's the only way to classify it. I can't be like a proper SCP. I'd have to be a J. But it's fun. I love that they added that in. I also like the other one, the EX, because I like that they might think something is anomalous, but they realize it's not. It is part of the purview of normal reality. And so it's okay.
It just teaches you a new science.
Exactly. Well, that's why I like this, because you kind of may have got it from how the stories are written. A lot of them are written like a lab report, right? Like a research.
Yeah.
Like how researchers would actually put something out. I love it.
They may riff on in-universe tropes, like overwrought security, over-the-top containment, cold posting, or bad original characters. Or they may parody things like food poisoning, bad drivers, easily angered people, or that one movie. They may even make fun of the elements in the other popular SCP canons. Ultimately, a joke SCP is just a way to make the reader laugh. If a joke SCP is not well written and very funny, it'll be downvoted. And finally, we have SCP-ARC, archived SCPs. These are usually legacy pages from the very old days of the site, when standards were low and the mass edit had not been conducted yet. While most of these SCPs were deleted, some of them needed to have text archives due to their usage in other tales or still existing SCPs, or because they were historically important. ARCing is no longer in use since the opening of Series 2, 3, and 4, and you will most likely never need to read one of these. Tales, canons, and collaborative logs. Tales are how the Foundation universe gets deepened and extended beyond the limits of the simple SCP file. It allows authors to tell stories where groups or people can interact with each other in the SCP universe, to expand on ideas already created in SCPs, or just, to write a prose. Some authors may also turn their tales into a series, usually if they have a cohesive idea in mind, or if it gets really popular. Notable series include There Is No Anti-Memetics Division, The Cool War, The Lombardi Tales, Tales of Mr. Collector, and Pitch Haven. You can find Tales in the top-rated Tales archive, as submissions to a themed contest, or by trawling around and finding recommendations. You can also, as we'll soon learn, read the tales in a canon. A canon is your own set of assumptions about the tone, setting, and dynamic of the universe. Each of the canons in the Canon Hub is a wildly different set of assumptions, based off the baseline SCP Foundation. Think of them as mega tale hubs, or parallel universes, or self-contained cinematic universes for authors to play in. Here are 5 notable canons. Broken Masquerade, a world where the Foundation's existence is known by everyone. Resurrection, a deliberate attempt to resurrect the action-orientated SCP Dr. Crazy Days of Series 1, in which an MTF composed of anomalous humans is formed. Third Law, a pulpy sci-fi paratech world dominated by the machinations of Prometheus Labs and Anderson Robotics. Rat's Nest, the military killed God, and the Foundation is covering it up. Reality is slowly unraveling and falling apart.
Oh shit.
The Gulf, small-scale poignant series set in the southern United States, usually having a restful, mysterious feel, and featuring religious symbolism and unconventional types of media. A number of pages on the site are tagged as collaborative. Collaborative logs or pages can be edited and added to by anyone, although some quality oversight still exists. This is a good way to get your creative chops and contribute whilst not taking the plunge of writing an SCP. The 3 main collaborative pages exist as lists of mini SCPs, very small-scale items or phenomena that don't need to have a narrative, but still need to be unique, appropriate, and interesting. They are Log of Anomalous Items. The SCP Foundation has discovered a substantial number of items which are simply too useless to merit further attention. This document lists those items which have prompted some curiosity. Log of Extranormal Events. This page is to document anomalous events that have attracted the Foundation's interests, but occurred too briefly for the Foundation to secure or contain them. And finally, Log of Unexplained Locations. This page is to be devoted to the documentation of low-threat anomalous locations which have been discovered by the SCP Foundation over the years. There are a number of other collaborative pages, usually SCP supplements or logs. Keep in mind that guidelines for contributions still apply though, and if your edition is deemed to be below standard, it'll probably be removed. Groups of interest. The Foundation isn't the only fish in the anomalous sea. Other organizations, collective, and groups exist that utilize or create paranormal phenomena for their own purposes. Some are associates of the Foundation, others are rivals to it. Many of them quietly pursue their own interests, while a great many of them fall on the lines of good and or evil. The vast majority simply have a goal in mind that's somewhere in between. Here are 7 notable groups of interest. Are We Cool Yet? A collection of artists, usually producing surreal and disturbing works of art. Their pieces are designed to have maximum impact and are usually lethal in some way. The Chaos Insurgency, a rogue cell of the Foundation that uses terrorist means to steal and repurpose powerful anomalies to gain control over nations and conduct unethical experiments using them. The Church of the Broken God,
It's time for chaos.
a widespread cult believing in a clockwork god who is broken into pieces all over the world. Dr. Wondertainment, an individual or company that makes anomalous artifacts that are supposed to be children's toys.
Dr. Wondertainment possibly is some of my favorite anomalous SCPs.
Yeah, Wondertainment.
They are crazy. Super interesting and well written, generally, the ones I know of. So I love them. We're definitely going to be seeing some Wondertainment in the ones I show you.
Okay.
The Serpent's Hand. A small organization headquartered in an interdimensional library, believing in anomalous rites and the normalization of the paranormal and magical.
That's probably yours, to be honest. They're like, hey, we just like fairies and stuff. We should be okay with existing. We don't deserve to be locked up.
So we're cool.
I mean, you still kill a lot of people, but
It's sometimes just necessary.
it's just
fine.
necessary. Yeah.
Marshall, Carter, and Dark. A corporation that buys and sells anomalous items for the benefit of the super rich.
Ugh.
Global Occult Coalition, or the GOC. A massive military organization under control of the UN, using technology and force to destroy the extra-normal wherever they find it.
See, that's the difference between.
Hey, you can vote for them.
Well, oh my god. Well, no, see, this is the explicit difference between SCP and, well, the Foundation and the GOC. The GOC explicitly, they don't care what it is. If it's anomalous, they destroy it. They don't even study it. They don't try to understand it, and they don't realize that sometimes by trying to destroy it, it makes things worse.
Okay.
Like it could be like a completely non-lethal anomalous object. They try to destroy it and it becomes lethal. What? Idiots.
Many groups also have their own form of documentation, similar to an SCP. On the wiki, they are called GOI formats, and they are stories told from a different perspective than the Foundation. For more information, visit the Groups of Interest page, as well as the ongoing Groups of Interest overview and guide on the SCP Declassified subreddit. Beyond the main site. You can find stories and SCPs to read even beyond the classifications and places I've already detailed. In this final section, I present other outlets of writing associated or tied to the SCP Wiki that you can also look into. Firstly, a great place for you to discover lesser known but very well written tales and SCPs are in the Contest Archive. For example, SCP-1000, 2000, and 3000 contests all have SCPs themed around urban legends, sci-fi, and horror, respectively. You have the Short Works contest, and the D-Class contest mentioned earlier, and the History contest for both tales and SCPs. Then there are the gigantic multi-part Mobile Task Force contest and Groups of Interest contest, and then the Dystopia and Reimagining contests, and so forth. There's so much to find. The Wanderer's Library is set in the mysterious, ancient, magical Library of the Serpent's Hand. It includes prose pieces and poetry set in the SCP universe, but focused on evoking a sense of wonder, of the extraordinary and fantastical. Quote, a sense that there is a larger world beyond the one we know. In the world of the library, these wonders are hidden, but never truly far away. But never forget that this is a wilder world than our own, and it's never entirely safe, either. And finally, we have the international foreign SCP branches. There's French SCPs, Russian SCPs, Japanese SCPs, and a whole bunch more. Each brand has their own set of SCPs, many of which have extremely creative and diverse ideas. If you're looking for more SCPs to read, this might be a place to find cool concepts. And if you don't know a foreign language, the main SCP-INT Wiki Hub has translations of some of them. This was entirely written by Reddit user Modulum83 over on the SCP Declassified subreddit. All links will be in the description. If you enjoyed it, give Modulum83 some praise in the comments section for writing something I couldn't write myself.
Yeah, good job.
I hope it answered most of your questions about who we are and what we do. And that it convinced you to take a dive and become part of the universe and the community.
We'll stop it right there with the link. So, what did you? Are you ready to dive in? Has that got you kind of hyped to actually learn about SCPs?
Yeah, no more learning. Let's get into the weird stuff.
We will actually. Well, this will be a longer video. We will be doing one because they are shorter. The Volgun does SCP videos. We're gonna be doing one of his to finish this off because I know anyone who's new, who's watching this with us, or anyone just who's into SCPs, I'm sure you're all chomping at the bit to be like, "Ooh, react to this one. Ooh, react to this one." So we're gonna definitely react to one right now, and then we'll be reacting to these occasionally as we move forward, just for fun, as we go along with our other content, guys. So I hope you enjoy learning about SCPs with us. I think I'm very excited for this.
Maybe in the future, if there's not too much to react on a certain SCP I have found and liked, I will present one.
Ooh, see, that'll be fun. We could do that as well. I mean, the sky's the limit, really. So yeah, let us let us take a quick moment, and we'll get into an SCP.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dr. Miller, and the SCP we're going to be studying today is SCP-49. Object Class: Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-49 is contained within a standard secure humanoid containment cell in Research Sector 2 at Site 19. SCP-49 must be sedated before any attempts to transport it. During transport, SCP-49 must be secured within a Class 3 humanoid restriction harness, including a locking collar and extension restraints, and monitored by no fewer than 2 armed guards. While SCP-49 is generally cooperative with most Foundation personnel, outbursts or sudden changes in behavior are to be met with elevated force. Under no circumstances should any personnel come into direct contact with SCP-49 during these outbursts. In the event SCP-49 becomes aggressive, the application of lavender, L. multifida, has been shown to produce a calming effect on the entity. Once calmed, SCP-49 generally becomes compliant and will return to containment with little resistance. In order to facilitate the ongoing containment of SCP-49, the entity is to be provided with a corpse of a recently deceased animal, typically a bovine or other large mammal, once every 2 weeks for study. Corpses that become instances of SCP-49-2 are to be removed from SCP-49's containment cell and incinerated. SCP-49 is no longer permitted to interact with human subjects, and requests for human subjects are to be denied. Temporary Containment Procedure Update. See Addendum 49.3. Per Containment Committee Order 049.S19.17.1, SCP-49 is no longer permitted to interact directly with any members of Foundation staff, nor is it to be provided with any additional corpses to be used in its surgeries. This order shall persist indefinitely, until such time a consensus regarding the ongoing containment of SCP-49 can be reached. Description: SCP-49 is a humanoid entity, roughly 1.9 meters in height, which bears the appearance of a medieval plague doctor. While SCP-49 appears to be wearing thick robes, and the ceramic mask indicative of that profession, the garments instead seem to have grown out of SCP-49's body over time, and are now nearly indistinguishable from whatever form is beneath them. X-rays indicate that despite this, SCP-49 does have a humanoid skeletal structure beneath its outer layer. SCP-49 is capable of speech in a variety of languages, though it tends to prefer English or medieval French. While SCP-49 is generally cordial and cooperative with Foundation staff, it can become easily irritated or at times outright aggressive if it feels that it is in the presence of what it calls the pestilence. Although the exact nature of this pestilence is currently unknown to Foundation researchers, it does seem to be an issue of immense concern to SCP-49. SCP-49 will become hostile with individuals it sees as being affected by the pestilence, often having to be restrained should it encounter such. If left unchecked, SCP-49 will generally attempt to kill any such individual. SCP-49 is capable of causing all biological functions of an organism to cease through direct skin contact. How this occurs is currently unknown, and autopsies of SCP-49's victims have invariably been inconclusive.
So yeah, all he has to do is touch you, and you're dead. Just instant death. Oh my god, what a power. God. And I always think it's interesting too. Medieval French is one of his preferred options of communication.
Well, yeah.
Very mysterious French monster.
It's when he learned to be, plague doctor and get that pestilence.
Well, and I don't think it was quite as clear, but like the plague mask itself even is part of its skeletal structure.
Okay.
And so is the robes. It looks like robes, but it's not. It's literally part of the organism. Even though it has a humanoid skeletal structure. Very weird. Very interesting.
SCP-49 has expressed frustration or remorse after these killings, indicating that they have done little to kill the pestilence, though will usually seek to perform a crude surgery on the corpse using the implements contained within a black doctor's bag it carries on its person at all times. While these surgeries are not always successful, they often result in the creation of instances of SCP-49-2. SCP-49-2 instances are reanimated corpses that have been operated on by SCP-49. These instances do not seem to retain any of their prior memories or mental functions, having only basic motor skills and response mechanisms. While these instances are generally inactive, moving very little, and in a generally ambulatory fashion, they can become extremely aggressive if provoked, or if directed to by SCP-49. SCP-49-2 instances express active biological functions, though these are vastly different from currently understood human physiology. Despite these alterations, SCP-49 often remarks that the subjects have been cured. Addendum 49.1 Discovery. SCP-49 was discovered during the investigation of a series of unknown disappearances in the town of Montauban in southern France. During a raid on a local home, investigators found several instances of SCP-49-2 as well as SCP-49. While law enforcement personnel engaged the hostile 49-2 instances, SCP-49 was noted as watching the engagement and taking notes in its journal. After all of the 49-2 instances were dispatched, SCP-49 willingly entered Foundation custody. The following interview was conducted by Dr. Raymond Ham during the initial investigation. Interviewer,
He's like,
Dr.
yes,
Raymond Ham,
research on
Site
my
85.
zombies.
Interviewee, SCP-49.
Research.
Wait, what?
I said he was, taking down notes and research on his,
Yeah, he wanted to
zombie.
see the interaction between his cured patients and the normies.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is definitely one of the stories that made me fall in love with SCP, and one of the big parts is this next part right here. I think is so cool that they took time to create. This interview is really neat. I love, so it shows you the scale that people are willing to put the work in for these SCPs.
Right. Playing log now.
Alors, comment devrions-nous commencer une introduction?
Is that French? Can we get a translator?
The King's English. No need for translation, sir. I can speak it well enough.
Good. My name is Dr. Raymond Ham, and
A doctor. A like-minded individual, no doubt. Wherein is your speciality, sir?
Cryptobiology. Why?
A medical man, such as myself. Wonders abound. And here, I worried I had been abducted by common street thugs. This place, then, this is your laboratory. I had wondered, as clean as it is, and with such little trace of the pestilence here.
The pestilence? What do you mean?
The scourge. The great dying. Come now. You know what is it they call it? No matter. The pestilence, yes. It abounds outside these walls, you know. So many have succumbed, and many more will continue to, until such time as a perfect cure can be developed. Fortunately, I am very close. It is my duty in life to rid the world of it, you see. The cure to end all cures.
When you say the great dying, are you talking about the bubonic plague?
I don't know what that is.
Not the
I see.
bubonics.
Right, well, the entities our agents encountered at the house, they were dead when you encountered them, yes? You reanimated them.
In a manner of speaking, you see things too simply, Doctor. Expand your horizons. Life and death. Sickness and health. These are amateur terms for amateur physicians. There is only one ailment that exists in the world of men, and that is the pestilence, and nothing else. Make no mistake, they were very ill. All of them.
You think you cured those people?
Indeed. My cure is most effective.
But the things we recovered were not human.
Yes, well, it is not a perfect cure, but that will come with time and further experimentation. I have spent a lifetime developing my methods, Dr. Ham, and will spend a lifetime more if necessary. Now, we have wasted too much time. There is work to do. I will require a laboratory of my own, one where I can continue my research unimpeded. And assistance, of course, though I can provide those on my own. In time.
Oh, I don't think our organization would be willing to...
Nonsense. We are all men of science. Fetch your coat and show me to my quarters, Doctor. Our work begins now.
Interviewer's note. While SCP-49 is capable of communicating in a very human way, there is a strange sense of unease that one experiences when in its presence. Make no mistake, there is something very uncanny about this entity, indeed. Additionally, we've confiscated that pointed stick that SCP-49 keeps waving around. Part of this was due to
Not the
standard
stick.
confiscation protocols for the possession of anomalies, and part because 49 really is a menace, swinging it around like he does. The entity was displeased at first, but after we made some concessions in providing it with test subjects, which are admittedly more for the benefit of our own research, it warmed up to the idea. Addendum 49.2 Observation Log. While in containment at Site-19, SCP-49 has spent a considerable amount of time studying and performing surgery on the various mammalian corpses it had been provided. SCP-49 will routinely spend several days performing surgery, and then, regardless of whether or not the corpse becomes an instance of SCP-49-2, spending several more days documenting its findings in a thick leather journal stored within its doctor's bag. SCP-49 will often seek to share its findings with members of Foundation staff. The following is a log of several occasions during which SCP-49 was observed operating on a mammalian corpse. Observational Log 49.OL.1 Summary. Subject: SCP-49. Preface: a test subject, D-85-123, was introduced into SCP-49's containment cell. The entity expressed sincere gratitude towards all members of the containment and research staff. Observation notes: SCP-49 began by asking D-85-123 several standard medical questions as it began removing tools from its bag. Shortly after finishing its preparations, SCP-49 quickly closed the distance between the two, killing the subject with a touch to its throat. Afterwards, SCP-49 made a number of considerable alterations to the basic structure of the subject's corpse. often introducing fluids from within its bag into the subject by way of a hand-powered pump and copper tubing. The resulting 49-2 instance became animated, flailing and grasping at the walls of the chamber with a number of manufactured limbs while moaning out of an oblong orifice now present in its sternum. During this time, SCP-49 was observed taking notes of the instance in its journal and remarking to the watching research staff about the efficacy of its cure. Security personnel entered the chamber to move SCP-49 back to containment and were attacked by the instance. The security team dispatched the 49-2 instance, and SCP-49 returned to containment with no resistance, stating that it was pleased with the results. Observational Log 49.0L.2 Summary. Subject: SCP-49. Preface: SCP-49 was provided the corpse of a recently deceased goat. SCP-49 expressed gratitude at the provision. Observation Notes: SCP-49 operated on the goat corpse for several days, eventually resulting in an instance of SCP-49-2. SCP-49 expressed pleasure in this outcome, though admitted the disease was still in its nascent stage. My veterinarian practice is rudimentary, but the patient responded well to the procedure. Observation.
At least he's honest, you know. He's not his vet work not top notch, but he's getting there. Oh my god, I love this guy.
Log 49.0L.3 Summary. Subject: SCP-49. Preface: SCP-49 was provided the corpse of a recently deceased orangutan. SCP-49 expressed noted gratitude at the provision due to the similarities between the orangutan and common human physiology. Observation Notes: SCP-49 spent several days operating on the orangutan, reanimating it several times. However, SCP-49 appeared to be discontent with the results it experienced, returning to the creature 3 times after its initial reanimation for additional work. After it was unable to reanimate the corpse a 5th time, SCP-49 turned the corpse over to Foundation staff for incineration, stating, "I have learned so much from this, though I fear my early optimism was misplaced. I hadn't yet come across such a stumbling block on my road to the cure. More subjects like this would do a great deal in advancing my research." Observational Log 49.0L.7 Full. Subject: SCP-49. Preface: SCP-49 was provided the corpse of a recently deceased bovine. SCP-49 expressed mild annoyance at the provision, though it accepted it nonetheless. Observation Notes: SCP-49 spent several days operating on the bovine corpse, breaking only to dine on a requested dinner of thin crackers, salted pork, and hard cheese. Beginning first by embalming the corpse, SCP-49 was observed producing a number of long syringes from its bag, each containing a different dark viscous fluid. SCP-49 described these fluids as essences of the humors, and elaborated by saying
the humors.
Yeah, the humors. You need them. You need them in your body, especially after death.
This may bring about a systemic imbalance. In such case, before true healing can begin, one must find the humors in balance, or the body will reject the cure. Over the next few days, SCP-49 spent a considerable amount of time adjusting the organs of the bovine corpse with a number of large metal instruments. After 8 days, SCP-49 produced a lightning rod, which Dr. Ham exchanged for an electric cattle prod attached to an extension cord, and struck the corpse in several locations. This action seemingly had the effect of reanimating the bovine, which once again became ambulatory, despite the inversion of the head and reorientation of its limbs.
Oh god.
And this is a follow-up interview to the previous observation logs. Playing log now.
Is death just like out and balance of the humor?
Is it though?
We Frankenstein and rebalance.
Nothing he brings back has, like, the humans he's brought back have no memory, or they don't have any kind of like voice. So it's like, but he calls them cured at that point. So the question is,
Yeah, they're
what is the
healthier.
pestilence? What is he curing?
We've watched you work for several weeks now, and honestly, I'm not sure I understand what you're doing. Could you describe your process in detail?
Oh, goodness no. The process is most intensive. As I said to your assistant, the best instruction you will find about my methods are here, in my journals, as I have kept exhaustive records of my work there.
Oh, I see. Well, my concern, Doctor, is that we still don't understand what you're seeking to cure, or how it manifests, or how turning these creatures into quasi-living, mindless drones helps in that effort.
You do not understand the pestilence, even after all this time. Doctor, it is an unspeakable horror, one that has shown its true face many times before, and will again. I find myself blessed with the wisdom and good senses needed to root it out and destroy it. But many, like yourself, cannot. It is a cruel judgment, I fear, to be at the mercy of a disease you cannot fully comprehend.
That still doesn't answer my question. How's your cure any kind of cure at all?
It is a cure. You may laugh at my efforts if you please, but do not besmirch the good name of scientific progress that has developed this great mercy. What you short-sightedly see here is a life better than any this creature could have hoped for. Stricken as it was with the pestilence, this creature is now clean, unable to spread the pestilence, and free from the terror it would have experienced otherwise.
This is hardly a creature at all, Doctor. It's not even...
Do not jape with me, sir. You and your colleagues are like so many others, unable to look past minor setbacks to see the salvation taking place before your very eyes. Do you wait to remove rotten timbers until the whole collapses on top of you? No. You find them and you pull them out and replace them with those untouched by rot. And most of all, you do not simply mock the structure because it now looks different to you. It is strong. It is free of disease.
I'm sorry. Didn't mean to agitate you. I'm just trying to understand.
Yes. Well, do mind your words in the future, Doctor. I am a professional, but even professionals may feel the bite of pride in dealing with criticism of their masterpiece. I will forgive this as an act of good faith between colleagues.
Is there anything else I can help you with?
No, that will be all. Another test subject on the usual schedule. You know my preference of subjects with more human anatomies.
Attending researchers note, SCP-49 does seem to genuinely want to help other humans, though it has not yet been able to provide a concrete example of what exactly it is trying to save us all from. I have watched it now for several weeks, and while the outcomes do not seem to ever change, SCP-49 continues to claim that it is growing closer to its perfect cure. I think the entity may be more aware of the reality of these outcomes than it would like us to think. Addendum 49.3 April 16, 2017 Incident. Starting shortly after SCP-49's initial containment, Dr. Ham conducted a number of interviews with the subject regarding its anomalous properties, and over time began to note its displeasure with its subjects and SCP-49-2 instances. This continued for a period of several months, during which SCP-49 never exhibited any aggressive behaviors. On April 16, 2017, as Dr. Ham was entering SCP-49's test chamber to conduct another routine interview, the entity began to grow anxious and asked Dr. Ham if he was feeling well. Following protocol, Dr. Ham reminded SCP-49 that the interview was required, after which the entity became hostile and attacked Dr. Ham, killing him. Due to a lapse in security protocol and because Dr. Ham did not activate the in-chamber emergency system, Dr. Ham's corpse was not discovered until 3 hours later, by which point SCP-49 had converted it into an instance of SCP-49-2. In the aftermath of this incident, SCP-49 was interviewed by Dr. Theron Sherman.
Yeah, so maybe maybe not the doctor you want to see, and then like the first thing he says, "Are you sure you're feeling well?" you hear him say that, you gotta be concerned.
Yeah.
Playing log now.
Poor Dr. Ham.
I need you to explain yourself. SCP-049, you are being directed to explain your actions, and I will remind you that failure to cooperate will result in further restrictions during your containment.
My actions do not need to be explained.
You killed Raymond Ham, and then butchered him until he...
Not dead. No, not dead. He is cured.
Cured? Cured of what?
The pestilence, sir. I had thought you, at least, would realize what luck it is. I detected it before.
What pestilence? You keep going on and on about this pestilence, but you have not once been able to properly identify this disease. What could you have possibly seen in him today that you had not seen so many times before? That it would be worth his life?
The pestilence presents and progresses in unforeseeable fashions, and has a queer way of creeping into the unprepared. And call it what you want, Doctor. It was a mercy I did to him. He is cured.
He is a vegetable.
I would not expect you to understand. You and your ilk have proven time and time again not to be men of science, but men of emotion. You cannot appreciate the horrors I have seen. Those many millions who have succumbed to the pestilence and been changed.
Your cure cost Ray his life.
No, good sir, I have saved it. You would allow this world to slip back into the despair of disease and death, ignoring that I have created a miracle. And
what disease? What pestilence? He was a healthy man. He was a good doctor.
I'm offering it freely to the afflicted. You are not worth this argument, sir. You are short-sighted and foolish. Dr. Ham was sick, and I cured him. I am the only one who can do this. My work must continue. There is still so much to learn, so much.
I've had enough of this.
And
consider your allowances revoked.
Even you.
Welcome to containment, 049.
Might be saved.
We're done here.
I can save them all. I can cast down this plague once and for all. I can do this. Only me. I saved him. Dr. Ham. I cured him. He was sick. I know he was sick. I know he was. And you are all sick, but I can save you. I can save all of you because I am the cure.
Addendum 49.4 Post-Incident Report Interview. The following interview is an excerpt from the April 16, 2017 49 Incident Report. The interview was conducted by Dr. Elijah Itkin and took place 3 weeks after the start of the initial investigation. Playing now.
SCP-049, we are conducting this interview to close out our investigation of your actions taken on April 16th that resulted in the death of a staff member. Do you have any comments to make?
Only that I look forward to the day when you will allow me to resume my work. I have spent the last few weeks compiling my notes and constructing a new theory for how the pestilence was able to infect someone in such an insidious manner that I nearly couldn't detect it.
Have you experienced any remorse for your actions? For the death of Dr. Ham?
Ah, yes. Well, the death of a colleague is always regrettable. But in the face of the pestilence, we must be swift, Doctor, and act without hesitation.
Dr. Dr. Sherman noted in his report that you seemed to be mournful during your initial interview.
Mourn? Perhaps. I had not thought that. It is lamentable that a fellow doctor became infected, but the work continues. Regrettable as it was, Dr. Ham's death provided important insight. Living human subjects are the only way to proceed forward, I am decided. My cure is of little use on dead flesh, and I have gleaned all I can from your generous supply of corpses. My desires turn towards tending to those still living who suffer from the disease.
I'm afraid you're going to be disappointed.
Oh, Doctor. I wouldn't be so sure.
Okay.
Like, I desire.
I think that about does it for today. Thank you all for
Give me
listening.
your
If indeed you still
flesh.
are, and you're all dismissed. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Oh, what do you think of that? Wait, hold on. Is there? Oh, okay. But yeah, so what do you think of that? What do you think of
Stretching.
what do you think of your first SCP story 049?
That's a pretty fun one. I like that he can be like combed with lavender and stuff.
Well, he does have a fond thing for certain aspects of life. You know, he likes finer things too. I mean, he enjoyed French cuisine and what did you think about like how they have interviews and stuff too? I bet, did you expect that from like an SCP story? Now, not all of them have that, but
Yeah, I've seen a few that do have it. I usually like it, as long as, of course, they do
I
something
feel like
interesting
it
with
adds a lot to it.
It
having
does,
that.
yeah.
It makes
It
it
could be really
just
fun.
so more real in a way. I really like how they conduct the interviews there, and I feel like this is a good one to because you can kind of gauge, because he's object class Euclid, so you can kind of gauge
Yeah.
now Keter being worse than this, safe, easier to contain than this, and this guy has been mostly cooperative in terms of his containment, mostly.
Sounds like
Few
there
deaths
might
here
be
and
a
there.
problem.
Few, well, compared to others.
Well, he's starting to move on to one of the living subjects, you know.
Yeah, but they don't have to give him those. He's just gonna be real mad now.
Oh, or do they?
Or do they? I wouldn't be so sure, he did say.
Exactly.
But I really like the whole vibe of him, because it's like, it's still mysterious, and there's different theories about what the pestilence actually is.
Yeah, he's pretty fun. I was gonna say, like, that's the part you want more on, but of course they want that to be the mystery.
Yeah, like you still learn about him, but you still feel like, what is going on? How did he come to be too, right? Because he clearly comes from medieval France, but he's like this weird bird human creature that has all these seemingly in like a bag of holding in terms of a medical bag, where he just pulls tons of random shit out from it all the time.
He's become the ultimate plague doctor, you know.
I kind of think that, like, and I do wonder, like, there's different things. Some people believe the pestilence does exist and he is actually doing something, or it could be like maybe he's like mentally just warped and thinks he's helping people.
I was gonna say, I was thinking it could be there is some weird pestilence only he can see, or he is warped, or like he considers maybe is he like some kind of like mental distress he thinks he sees as a plague, or like some part of life.
Yeah, it can be hard to say. Some people
not
have
being weighed down by something. I don't know.
Some people have latched onto the idea that the pestilence is death itself, which I think you kind of were thinking about too.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if death itself is quite what he's trying to cure. But in any case, it's a very interesting SCP and absolutely terrifying if you were in an enclosed space with it. Because one thing I don't know if it got across here in this tale, but like he is fast, like extremely fast. He can close distance between you and him very quickly, which is what makes him so deadly too. Is that he can just tap you and you're done.
Would be one way to defeat him, like, no, you have the pestilence, or would you just freak him out?
I think he would have like one of the snarky responses we saw in the interview, like, "Oh, so if
Probably.
I had the pestilence, I would be the first to realize," you know.
Yeah, I wanted to say that, but then at the same time I didn't want to interrupt the story too much, but maybe I should have.
No, yeah, definitely
what
in the
would he
future. We didn't
react?
pause a lot for that because I think she's just soaking it in. It is her first SCP.
Yeah.
But yeah, anytime in the future while we're watching, just say pause. We can talk about aspects in the moment. That's fine, because I want to make sure we're reacting properly to these and adding our own thoughts to it. Because I think these create a lot of opportunity for a lot of different thoughts. Poor Dr. Ham getting totally destroyed. And the thing I think that's sad about it is Dr. Ham was somewhat sympathetic to wanting to help him continue his research in certain ways.
Understand him.
But I guess that didn't matter. Not to him.
He got that pestilence. He got that pestilence.
And I like how he describes it here, where it is lamentable that a fellow oh no, not that part. What is it? It says look for this interview. Yes, right here. So I have spent the last few weeks compiling my notes and constructing a new theory for how the pestilence was able to infect someone in such an insidious manner that I nearly couldn't detect it. I find that to be a very interesting way to describe it. Insidious. Like that the pestilence itself is finding new ways even now to infect people. And that it's somehow even nefarious in its actions, like the pestilence almost has a will. I don't know, I just thought that was always an interesting way for it to describe it. That, or it just was like, I could barely detect it, or I'm not sure I detected it, so it must have been there, just very well hidden.
Well, it's like that makes me think he's just crazy, or it's some kind of like cosmic thing only he can see. Like, is it depression? Like, what is it?
Exactly. Yeah, I do wonder that. Well, and I feel you get that more up here in the interview prior to that one, where he had just killed Ham and he's being interviewed by the other doctor, and this part here where the other doctor is like leaving and he's still going on his rant. I'm sure I know he was sick. So it does beg the question, but it's hard to know what this other entity, because it's not even like truly human, is even seeing.
He says, I am the cure.
I am the cure.
Yeah.
I am the one who knocks.
Or I am the knight. So like he really thinks.
He thinks he's an absolute necessity. Like, that's how highly he holds his value too. Like, so I feel like you get that throughout. Like, even when he was tested a little bit by Dr. Ham before being killed, he got really mad at, like, I would say pretty normal questions for trying to understand what he's doing.
I know what to say, for somebody so eloquent and sciencey, he just can't ever get to the point of explaining.
He has a very high ego though with that, right?
True.
Like, I guess I feel like he thinks people would understand his way more than we can entail. But also they did mention that it could be him with the way he responds to like how the tests were going. Maybe he knows that he's not getting as much information as he would like, and he's not as close to a cure, like a true cure, as he would like. But he just has to have this bravado about his progress. which actually I think has some historical relevance. Correct me if I'm wrong, comments, but I do think there's some historical prevalence for having that kind of bravado in historical doctor work, like really that kind of overconfidence, I would even argue. I mean, God, we were in the West following Gale for like 600 years, Greek interpretation of our anatomy, and he had never once looked at our anatomy on the inside. Oh no. So yeah, so bravado goes far in this bitch.
Hey, as long as he keeps that beak stuffed with lavender, pestilence ain't gonna get him.
He's super chill. You gotta have that lavender though. Gotta have that lavender. But yeah, so that is one of my favorites that got me into SCP more. Like when I heard his story and this file and read it myself too. It's great. I love SCP-049.
It's pretty fun, especially with the voice acted audio logs. I think it makes it a little more accessible and like role play for people.
And I do think this one
can get into the story.
Is a good one to start with as well, because they'll reference him a lot in other stories.
Okay.
So knowing what he is could be good. We're not going to catch all of that, of course. They're going to reference others we don't know all the time, but we just have to study more, clearly. That's the true answer. But with that, we're going to call it. This is already a very long video, so thanks for staying with us or watching this over work or whatever else you're doing throughout the day. And leave a like, comment if you have your favorite SCP or recommendations you want us to put on the top list. We will eventually get to them all. Keep in mind that we only post a few times a week, so we will get to them, but it just may take some time. And yeah, subscribe and hit the bell, and we will talk to you all here at Moans and Bones Reacts next time.
Bye.